On the fly ones, were there times where families would look at you like, you traitorous fuck? Like, why are you working with these guys? And how do you deal with them when it's dynamic that way? I mean, do you say, look, like, how do you kind of level with them?
First of all, the motivation that I had inside me for my country, like when I traveled to Dubai the first time, through the human trafficking guy, and I saw this country, the infrastructure, the modernization, the people's life, and I remember the old days of Afghanistan. This was giving me the energy not to even give a damn about what people think about me or say about me, because whatever the United States military, government, private projects or government projects they were doing, Afghanistan was benefiting from it.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech was there. We had over 64 TVs. That never in the history of Afghanistan something like that was there. And over 100 and something radios were on. People could criticize, they could call, they could, say things about the government, and they could hear their wish and everything. So on the other hand, we had elections. Although it was a little bit crap, but still we were walking towards modernization. Yeah. And my relatives and the weddings and funerals, I heard a little bit, like not directly, but they kind of spoke it, and my wife heard it, and then she told me like, oh, he's a puppet, he's an infidel, he's working for Americans, and he's becoming a facilitator of hurting the Afghans. I mean, some people that they had a different ideology, like radical ideologies. But I didn't care about them at all, because I knew that God knows better that what we are doing and how much it's benefiting this nation and this people.
If it was an instance where it's, you're on target, on the fly kind of thing, and they kind of start off with that attitude of like, dude, fuck you, I'm not, whatever. How would you try to, walk them off the ledge and get them to cooperate if they were coming at you like that from the get-go?
Like I will tell you one of my personal experience. There was a time in 2007 that our guys did an operation in Logar province, and they kind of jumped from the helicopters into the people's houses, and they got some bad guys that they were there. They were trying to do some suicide attacks on the U.S. Embassy, the Afghan presidential palace, and the army, and kill innocent people. So when we captured them, I was seen in that operation, and those guys' relatives were living in the same street in Kabul, Afghanistan. That one afternoon, when I was coming from the job, most of the time I was carrying a long gun, shotgun, body armors, and a Toyota Land Cruiser armored car. That I came to visit my family. As soon as I stopped the car, they stormed at me, like over 60 people. He has gathered from the mosque, from the different streets, and from the neighboring area. They had rocks and sticks, and they tried to hit me with that. I immediately reached out and I pulled my Glock, and I shot at them a little bit above their head. And my wife, she's watching from over the balcony. She washed the clothes, and she's trying to put them on the string to let the sun hit it. And she saw all these crazy people, and she saw me shooting in the air. She immediately called the 119. It's And the police, they knew me very well. Each area that I went over there, I introduced myself to the police, especially to the chief of police, so that I get more protection from them. They know who I was. And, they immediately, two rangers of the police came from one side, another from other side, and they pushed all the people and, secured my house. The whole night, the police guys had to stay over there, and then the next morning I had to leave. I was not worried about myself, but I was definitely worried about my children and my wife, and I had to totally switch from that district to another district. Like that was 12th district, I had to come to the 15th district and just rent me another house. But there have been some scenarios, and they knew it. They knew it that whatever they say or criticize me or complain or finger points at me, they knew it that I didn't care, because my ideology, my hope, and my wish was something for the nation from the childhood, that I was doing it. Every day I was doing it, and I took that as an opportunity to help the country and the people that have been suffering forever.
Yeah.
For me, it was a pride. But as soon as the government collapsed, and even if the United States withdrew, the government continued, it would still be good. But, when the government collapsed, I was one man. I couldn't control it.
Yeah. But before we get into that, was there a biggest fuck up that Chad committed as far as cultural buffoonery? Like where you're like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like where you had to unfuck him?
No, except that one time when he wanted to kill that guy, the guy that we were buying the guns from him.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't see anything others, except if you remember.
Yeah, well, they were like, if we kill those guys, would have.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I remember one time, like we are in front of the National Bank of Pakistan in Kabul. We are there to pick money from there.
Oh, yeah.
And Chad's a sportsman. Every time when he goes, he's doing this and trying to take weapons from people. And, these little skinny bodyguards of the National Bank of Pakistan, they're standing over there. And, Chad is all with vests, pistol, and, magazines and everything. He's trying to go inside the bank to get money. But the skinny guy is trying to stop him, and the skinny guy reached to get his pistol, and he did something technically and dropped this guy down with his gun and everything. And this other guy, skinny guy who is in front of the gate, he wants to shoot him. And thank God that I noticed that before him, and I loaded the gun and pointed at him. I told him, if you reach your finger to that trigger, you are done. I will blow your brain.
Wow.
We're kind of in a standoff because the guy that at first he reached for my gun, so
Did you arm or something?
Well, I trapped his hand on my hand grip and then pushed it back to his elbow and put him against the window, like kind of fell against the thing. And when I seen the AK come up towards me, I pulled the guy back in front of me. Yeah. So I got that guy like in front of me. And then I had my gun out, and I had my gun on that guy. And then Aziz has got this gun at the other guy. We're like in the middle of this bank, like at a standoff. Just trying to go and make a deposit.
Fucking Wyatt Earp and Tombstone over here.
No, we were trying to make a withdrawal. That's it.
Oh, man, that's wild. Other than that, were there? I don't know if I asked you this when you were here last time. Did you ever use jiu-jitsu overseas on anybody?
That's my only jiu-jitsu.
That's it. Huh?
That's my jiu-jitsu.
40 years of training.
Yeah, that's my jiu-jitsu story.
I guess, not having to use it is a blessing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's intense shit.
Well, before that bank opened, though, it was crazy because I go in the bank and I'd have like a backpack, and I'd be going to get like $200,000-$300,000. And, normally here they're bringing it back. But there's like shoulder to shoulder people in this. Like it'd be this size room, shoulder to shoulder people. Everybody's on their cell phones. It's a piece of glass. They're sliding it through, and you're stuffing in your backpack. Yep. And so at somebody, if I was a bad guy, I would just sit in there all day and say, hey,
dude in the
green shirt, blue jeans on, brown backpack. He's walking out now. Grab him. Yeah. Like just sit. That's so I'm like assuming that's. And so Aziz and one of the other guys would be just sitting in the car waiting to like mow somebody down. And so it's like, it was just every time I go and get that money out of the bank, it was like, man, just nail biting.
Damn, that's hairy.
Yeah, they did that to so many people, to so many Afghan businessmen and some NGOs, some European guys. They did them. They stole like hundreds of thousands of dollars from them. They were directly reporting it from inside the bank. Somebody sitting inside the bank, just observing and seeing who is withdrawing how much money, and then he will report it to somebody else. And they did those kinds of bad things. But the good thing was that we were always ready. We had guns, and we had our bodyguards with us also. And
I think they were just hoping somebody would. They were like, I wish somebody would. That's why it never happened.
Yeah, we had our readiness for everything, especially working with Chad. He militarily, he is totally equipped. Yeah. He knows what he's doing.
Stay on your toes around him. That's awesome. All right, so if we can kind of walk through the say that a couple days, like basically when you first heard, whether it was through the rumor mill or it was actually coming down that, hey, the U.S. is withdrawing, walk us through kind of how you guys worked together to get you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard the news, I didn't take it serious because I had the hope and I was really counting on the Afghan army. And that was trained by the United States Army. And, I have seen their capacities in the past, all the guns and ammunitions and equipments that they were given to. So I was thinking at least maybe another 3 or 5 years, this war will continue before the Taliban even captures the whole regime, or before even it becomes that dark for me not to be able to live in Afghanistan anymore. But on the other hand, I was worried about my daughters. I was seeing it that they could not go to school because the Taliban stormed into different provinces. And, the provinces collapsed one after another province. And they were capturing the provinces, and they were killing, they were torturing all those people that worked for the Americans. And they killed them to the very, very bad stage of the killing and torture stage that I don't even have any words for that one to say it here. So
That's when I knew it was bad. When
Exactly.
the Taliban killed those 25 commandos and there was no repercussions, I'm like, this is going to fall quick. As soon as the Taliban did that and knew that there was going to be no penalty for that, they knew that the Afghan National Army was on their own. I'm like, this is going to be like weeks, months.
Did you know those 25 commandos? Did you guys know them?
I didn't.
No, I didn't know them personally, but I knew them where they worked, where they operated from.
What did they do? Did they just kill them, or did they torture them? And
No, first they tortured them. They loot them. They got all their personal expensive materials from them, like watches, cell phones, money, and everything, and then they killed them.
man,
They did it publicly too.
Publicly, yes. And also they sex enslaved their children, their daughters, and their wives.
holy fuck, man.
Yeah, they have their own interpretation according to their Islamic religion. They have their own interpretations. Like if they they say that if they kill a bad guy or an infidel guy who is not trusting in their Allah, so they are allowed to even marry or sex enslave their females and get all their treasures and everything. Same like in the centuries ago that people were doing these kinds of barbaric things.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk at that time, and for a lot of people politically on both sides say this, and I think it's just, and unfortunately our president said it, which was embarrassing for me, but it said, that how could you continue to help these people when they weren't willing to fight for themselves, which is such a naive or just evil statement, because in the last 20 years, 60,000 Afghan soldiers died protecting that country, which by
That's more than Vietnam.
yeah,
Yeah.
by ratio of of a populace of Afghanistan, that's huge, just like our Civil War,
Yeah.
and then all the civilians that died, wanting a free Afghanistan, and then to train them for 20 years, to prop them up and have the whole international community, not just America, but the whole international community supporting, advising them with air support, and then without notice, negotiate with the enemy. The United States government didn't negotiate with the international community. They didn't negotiate with the Afghan government that we put in place. They didn't negotiate with the Afghan National Army. They negotiated with the enemy and withdrew without notice. We pulled the rug out from under them, set them up for failure. And now these guys that are still wearing an Afghan National Army uniform, they're not away on deployment like us. Their wives and kids are down the street.
Yeah.
So imagine the situation they're in. Like, do I fight to the death and have my kids, my daughters be sexually, or do I, take care of my own right now? There's no greater setup for failure than what we did to them.
Is there when you say they, in terms of the United States, do you know who they consists of as far as who did the negotiations? I mean, obviously, ultimately, it's the president's decision.
It's the president's decision, and he was advised against it by, I think, most of the intelligence community and the DOD, the Joint Chiefs, advised him against the withdrawal. I know the international community was very upset. The lack of the silence said it all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I guess the highest up individual would be Joint Chiefs Milley, right?
Milley, and then you have you have Milley at the Joint Chiefs, but then you also have State Department, the
Yeah,
Anthony
Zalmay
Blinken.
Khalilzad.
Blinken was a really big part of all this. The negotiations with the Taliban during the evacuation. So Blinken's office was doing a lot of the negotiations with the Taliban, which sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
And then they had the Doha Agreement, which was the Doha Agreement was saying that if the Taliban takes over, they will not allow terrorism in Afghanistan, which is kind of ironic because the Taliban are terrorists.
Yeah.
So the Doha Agreement was part of the negotiation.
Yeah, there are lots of things that have not been fulfilled practically according to the Doha Agreement between the Taliban and the withdrawal. One of the things was allowing the females to go to school, preparing the environment and situation for all the females to go to school. And there has to be like national forgiveness for all the soldiers that they have worked for the ex-government. Their life and their females and their house, everything has to be secured. All those things are mentioned in that agreement, but none of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Al Zawahiri being there, Al Qaeda being there. I mean,
Yeah.
and the Taliban themselves. You know,
Yeah, like right after a couple of weeks or a month or something, they killed Eminat Zawahiri in the heart of Kabul, right?
Yeah.
Next door to the
Yeah. And then-
Haqqanis and the
and then the White House is high fiving. You know how great a thing it is, but why is this guy comfortable with being?
Yeah.
Well, we created a hotbed for terrorism. Safe harbor for terrorism.
I mean, they still need to be held accountable. You know, Blinken is a civilian. Biden, certainly never served, but they're being advised by the intel community and the DOD. And again, like if you're going through the chain of command, unless I'm misinformed, I mean that Milley would be the top guy, right? That he's trying to influence Biden. Do you know if he tried to get him to do something different?
I am told that Milley did advise against the withdrawal, and if you look at what happened in the evacuation, the NEO operation, non-combatant evacuation operation, was taken away from the DOD by the White House. It is a DOD function to evacuate civilians out of a war zone or combat zone.
Yeah.
It was taken away from the DOD and given to Blinken at the State Department, which is a huge mistake because that's the reason you have military force and diplomatic negotiations to be separate. And now then the State Department treats the last refuge, which is HKIA, like an embassy. And that's why our troops weren't allowed to go out and evacuate people. They had to just protect that airport like an embassy, which meant that the Taliban now had the outer perimeter. And anybody knows anything about ground combat knows whoever controls the outer perimeter controls access to and from the airport. So really the Taliban controlled the airport at that time.
Yeah. I guess for me, just from, trying to hold the people that are in the positions to make these calls, whether it's the Pakistani influence or fucking up this operation, like what drives me, and I think almost everybody that doesn't have any skin in the game with Raytheon and Halliburton contracts and greasing skids for their transition out of the military and cush fucking jobs that way, is people are fucking tired of nobody being held responsible, nobody taking accountability, nobody saying, you know what, I fucked that up.
Right.
I fucked that up, and it's my job to fix it. At a minimum, like I'm here to say this is my fucking fault. Yeah. Like nobody does that. No. Nobody.
And in this scenario, I mean, Americans were left behind. Americans were killed.
And I mean, 20 years of expecting people in their country, such as you and all of the people like asking everything from them. I mean, everything, like up to and including their lives, their families' lives, and then just saying, fuck it, we're out of here. Yeah. To me, somebody should have to answer for that, Absolutely. And again, like, if you're going down the fucking chain, Milley is the next guy. Now, admittedly, I'm a little biased. I don't fucking like the guy.
Right.
But having said that, let's say he gave that recommendation. Biden's like, yeah, roger that. Fuck it. I'm not listening to you. Yeah. Like to me, if you really stand behind that, and if he had recommended that, why the fuck would you still be working for that guy? The first thing I would do is I'd set my shit on his desk and be like, I am not working for you anymore. And the fact that he still is says everything you need to fucking know about the guy. I mean, plain and simple. Like, you can say I advised against this. Well, motherfucker, you're still working for the guy that completely fucked over all of your guys and left you holding the fucking bag the whole way. So That doesn't jive with me.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
been no accountability for anyone, and you know, I think even take a step further back than that is, I think most Americans have bought into this idea that we should have left Afghanistan, that it was a 20-year war, it was an endless war, and maybe we left wrong, but it was the right thing to leave, and that's just not true, because when you really look at Afghanistan, one, the Bagram Air Base is the most strategic place on the globe. It sits between Iraq, Iran, Russia, and China. It is the most influential place in the current dynamics of the world. In addition to that, to say that we had to get out because of our troops is just BS. We had 2,500 at one time, 4,000 troops there.
Yeah.
We have 80,000 in Japan still since World War II, and 40,000 in Korea and in Germany. But the international community, everybody was participating there. We were keeping the Taliban at bay. We were supporting and advising the Afghan National Army. It wasn't our call, in my opinion, to leave.
Agreed.